Hello and welcome to the Tifo Football podcast. I'm Joe Devine, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Kaynak.
Hello.
Hello, okay?
Yeah, very good.
JJ Bull.
Hello.
What's going on?
I've got a gig in Moth Club on December the 6th.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Just thought I'd throw that in now because I remember it.
Deck 6.
December the 6th.
Deck 6, there you go. And also joined by, it's Jack Pitt-Brooke.
Hi, Joe.
Hello, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm absolutely, I wasn't expecting you to ask that. I'm fine, thank you. Yeah, everything's fine. Here's what happened on today's episode. We revel, writes Steve, and rage at this weekend's Mold. That's what we've decided to call it now. And you have to, it's almost as though you're going to throw up, isn't it? When you move forward a bit, you go,
I think you can just do it. Nuld.
like the end of Ronald.
Nuld. It's like what a lot of Portuguese words sound like.
That's true. With a sh at the end. Yeah. Anyway, what is... Well, it's the North London derby, of course, with Arsenal putting 4 past Spurs. There's the separation game we play. On the one hand, quite hard because there was a player we didn't know, and on the other, quite easy because there was one connection between him and the other player. Well done, Steve. Our big wet brains love that one. Crisis. What crisis for Newcastle? Right, Steve. Steve wrote all of this, by the way. Well, we discuss their much-needed win over Manchester City, who may not be back. After all, we don't know if Pep back or no. Pep back? Question mark?
Didn't write that.
Pep no back. What is a damp squib? We learn what a damp squib is on today's episode. That's very exciting. It's not what you think.
A squid.
And the truth is explosive.
Not the squid.
Not the squid. Liverpool lose again. So we talk about how they can actually get out of this negative spiral they're in. And finally, we get JJ's reaction to Scotland making it to the World Cup for the first time since 1998. Was Kaya born then even? It's unclear.
I was.
He was born.
I would have been 11 months old.
I thought he was going to say I would have been 11.
Yeah. I was 43.
I've really misjudged your age.
Yeah. I look at you saying I'm like young JJ looks.
You weren't one yet.
No.
But you were already 4'7".
Yes, exactly.
There he is. Okay. And we played Points Are Bad as well, where we were joined by John McKenzie, who got thoroughly barkered last week. But was it as bad as we all thought it would be? The answer is no. That was the answer. Yeah. Is that everything?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, where else to begin, of course, than with the NLD, hashtag NLD. JJ, you weren't here last week, were you? That's the North London derby.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you did see.
I thought it was pronounced Nuld.
The Nuld, yeah. Where else to begin than hashtag Nuld, which was a mighty affair. I'm just going to start this one by saying, as written by Steve Hankey, and then I'm just going to read to you what Steve Hankey's written today, okay? The sky in North London was red on Sunday evening as the time ticked on to 4:30. However, that was just the sun setting over the Emirates Stadium as Arsenal proceeded to put 4 past Tottenham Hotspur and win the Uld. The star of the show was Eberechi Eze, who added his name to the lauded Arsenal luminaries that have scored a hat-trick in the Premier League. There you go, that's what Steve said. Here's what Opta said. Eberechi Eze has scored the 400th hat-trick in Premier League history. He's the 23rd player to score one for the Arsenal men's team, with no side having more different hat-trick scorers in the competition. Magic, well done. There you go. Also, I heard in the commentary that he was only the third Arsenal player ever, or men's Arsenal player ever, to score in an old game, which is kind of miraculous. I mean, that's sort of wildly few, isn't it? Anyway, they deserved to win, didn't they, JJ?
Yeah, and the lauded Arsenal luminaries.
The lauded Arsenal luminaries.
That sounds... Yeah.
We believe in you.
Yeah, no, I wish I hadn't said that, because now you're going to do that song again.
No.
But that was...
Against sweet
That sounds
stars.
like the function band that would play at the Christmas party.
It does, yeah, the lauded luminaires.
Yeah.
They would sing that song as well.
They would sing that song.
Yeah, but would
everyone
they
would be like, yeah, but like, really?
Well, just for that little moment where you enjoyed it, you know.
Yeah.
There's no cynicism.
Got my first real 6-string. Everyone likes that when it comes out.
Would everyone hammer Spurs at the Emirates, though? Because it was a hammering, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I've read that Thomas Frank someone can confirm this because in fact Jack will definitely know this. Thomas Frank said they wanted to press high from the start. Is that what he said after the match?
Yeah, I believe he said that in the press conference afterwards, which is a bizarre thing to say given, firstly, it didn't happen at all.
Yeah.
But also the person that, like the people he had on the pitch, like he had Richarlison, Odegaard, Kudus in the front three. And it's one of those situations where you think, well, maybe if you had Dominic Solanke and Kulusevski who can do that well, then maybe they would have been able to do that. But instead, it's one of those situations where the manager admits what he wanted the team to do. And then you think, but that actually makes you look even worse.
Yeah.
Because your players did the exact opposite of what you said you wanted them to do.
Even if that's true, at that point, you just don't you don't say it, you
I
don't
don't
tell
know.
anyone ever.
Because that might be the plan. That might be like circumstances happen. I've never played a Premier League game. I don't know what happens to players, whether they just adapt to the situation they're in and they naturally fall back.
The situation being Arsenal were all over them from the first second
But
of the
then
game.
I always think, like, what would I do if I was setting them up? And how do you get it across to the players? Like, what would I do?
What would I do? What would you do?
And do you think Arsenal, so before the game, I think they'd conceded 81 shots all season long.
Right.
There's FB ref data.
That sounds like a lot, but it's not.
The 82nd that they conceded, if this is correct, was Richarlison's halfway line goal. It's quite good. But 81 shots. So you think, right, they don't concede shots. They don't. So is there any point trying to take shots against them?
Right.
Maybe that's the best way.
Right.
If you try not to shoot,
then you score from the halfway line.
Yeah. So eventually you'll score. So like if you try and lock it down and frustrate them, eventually they'll do that thing that we've seen them do in the past where they try and circulate the ball and they can't quite get it in.
Yeah.
The crowd gets frustrated. So I think like from the very start, the plan would be the Emirates is up. They're all really loud. And then you just play it slow. You calm it down. That's game management. Makes total sense.
Yeah.
But Arsenal are so good. They're good at everything. Like, there's no real weaknesses in that team. The only real weakness they have is that if you do frustrate them and block them out, maybe they won't score until the set piece.
Yeah.
That's about the only thing I can see. So, like, how do you score against them? I don't know. They're all massive lads. They're all so disciplined and organised. How do you break them down?
Yeah.
Right now, especially. I mean, like, I'm sure there'll be a time in this season when they look a bit weaker, you know, but like right now, how do you do it? So I didn't even mind the setup of it. I know like everyone who's a Spurs fan seems to have absolutely hated how they approached it.
Yeah.
But I know this will make me sound stupid, but it does kind of make sense, like coming back, like being more defensive against them.
I don't think it's stupid at all.
And then opening up.
It made complete sense to me that they were doing that. I thought it was bad that they conceded so many goals. I thought that was a bad strategy.
And in the second half, they did come in more into it and they went more at them and it was much better. And that's the approach you probably should have taken. So like, I'm totally wrong.
You're already 3-0 down.
Yeah.
I think the problem for a lot of fans is it's kind of an ego thing at play, which is that if you set up like that in a derby against your biggest rivals, you are effectively behaving like a small team. Yesterday, Tottenham effectively set up in a way that you would expect if like a League One team got Arsenal in the FA Cup third round and they were thinking, let's get a replay. Actually, I'm not sure if replays don't exist anymore, but you know the principle, right? It's like we're going to make it as difficult as possible and then maybe we'll like head in a corner in the 83rd minute.
We'll get some more attendance money for the chairman.
Yeah.
And then you get called a tactical mastermind. Like how he masterminded the genius.
Exactly, right?
Tactic.
If it works.
Tottenham Hotspur are not a small club.
No.
Like they were in the Champions League final a few years ago. They're in the Champions League quite often. They have like the biggest, shiniest stadium in the world. They have a big, shiny training ground. Like they are not a team who want to try and they don't want to play that way. Like it's just not in their. It's not in the kind of historical memory of the club. And so to go to a game like that and set up like that. And then for it to be a disaster, like lots of fans are feeling quite embarrassed, I think, by that approach. And I think it shows that there are some clubs where that kind of, I mean, you could call it negative, you could call it reactive, whatever adjective you want to use, that kind of approach doesn't fit. I think that's the problem,
I think
right?
Gary Neville said something on co-coms, he went, if you're going to play that way, you have to do it well because it looks awful. I mean, I'm paraphrasing and that's not literally what he said, but if you try and set up that way, you have to get it right. Otherwise, because it's awful to watch. And like, I've seen like Aberdeen teams do that forever, and it's just, what's the point? What are you doing? At least have a go. And I think that's part of the point is that if you go at them, you've got more of a chance. I'd rather get tonked 4-0 by pushing for them. But if he sees like the value in sitting deep and blocking them and frustrating them, like what I was saying, maybe that's what he was. But he said he wanted to press, and that's I don't understand. He wanted to be aggressive and press them. They didn't do that, so there's a disconnect there. But also, I understand why they were trying to do it in the way that they were doing it. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, I mean, Jack, you tweeted yesterday and you said you can't have a back five plus Bettinia in front of them and let Eze shoot from the edge of the box, which is kind of the same. We're all kind of saying the same thing here.
Yeah, that was the amazing thing, right? Is that even if you, there's like two separate things here. There's the plan and there's the performance. And like, I think that, we can argue about whether or not the plan was good or bad. Like, I think it was probably bad and lots of fans don't like it. But regardless of what you think about the plan, the performance was also definitely extremely bad because it's just like, it's bizarre that you could have three centre-backs who are all, good players, like Romero and Van der Ven are their two best players by far. And then to have Bentinia, that's Bentancur and Palhinha, sat immediately in front of the back five. Plus you've got two pretty defensive wing-backs in Udogie and Spence, not even playing Pedro Porro. And then to allow, like, literally every time Arsenal went forward, they had a shot from the edge of the box. And it's like, how can you've got so many guys there who are specifically in the team to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
And yet there's a shot every single time. And it's like, and obviously if you're up, one of the players having all those shots is Eze. He's a really good player. A lot of those shots are going to wind up in the bottom corner of the goal.
Yeah. I also think it's a little bit like how I'd expect him to have lined up with Brentford at the same time. I'm not saying like possibly for 1 second he's naive enough to think that's what he's doing still, but I mean, that has worked in the past for Brentford, where you block them out and then he's got the players to be able to get up the other end. But maybe it's that when you have really good players that Spurs have, not that Brentford's aren't, but they don't do the things you need to do in that way. Maybe they should have just gone at them from the start.
But it sounds like that's what he said afterwards that they were supposed to do. I mean, that seems like...
That's why I don't understand anymore. So like, I watch football and I'm like, they say this thing, but then you see what they're doing. And then sometimes it's nothing to do with tactics. It's just the players do something wrong. But in this game, like Jack's exactly right. They weren't really good at all. And there must have been some... I haven't watched it enough to work out what it was. Any tactical thing that Arteta's done to find his way through. But if they're leaving space on the edge of the box, like that loads of teams are shooting from that bit now.
Yeah. I mean, the other sort of shocking thing about Spurs' performance was that they registered 0 XG in the first half, which was...
They didn't have a shot, did they?
They did not have a shot. There was a 0 expected chance of them scoring at all.
It's 100% expected loss.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the reason that they weren't able to press high is because they never got out of their own box. The obvious question after a result like this, and I guess to your point, Jack, a performance like this, is it's not good for Thomas Frank, is it?
No, it's really bad. And I think the really bad thing about it is that the ways in which it was bad were not entirely surprising. Like, this is not the first time that Tottenham have recorded microscopic XG numbers this season. Like, they've had, the infamous Chelsea defeat a few weeks ago, where I think, again, like the numbers are routinely below 1.
It was a record low.
And it's often like 0.0 or 0.1 or 0.2. Like, these are really, really bad numbers. And I think that to a lot of fans, that shows like why, like, and this kind of correlates with the eye test as well. Like, you watch them play and you think this is not a good attacking team. This is a team whose attacks are all corners, and they're pretty good at corners a lot of the time. Or they're not even that good like on the counter attack. Like, you would often want if teams who set up that defensively to be really good on the counter, but they're not good on the counter. They can't hold the ball up because Richarlison can't hold the ball up, and he's been their main centre forward this season because Solanke's injured, and they're just... I think it was the fact that it was really bad, but not really surprising, that I think has pained Spurs fans so much today.
Yeah. Okay. Do you think he's going to survive the season? Thomas Frank, that is.
So I don't know, but my instinct is I think he will get more time. Like, it's still early. There's also no sense that, I mean, I don't think they're going to go down. I also don't think there's an obvious guy who's just waiting for the call. Like, so a lot of people are saying, it's just like Nuno. It's just like Nuno. And it is in many ways a lot like Nuno. But with Nuno, like, Antonio Conte was literally sat on the beach waiting for the call from Daniel Levy.
Yeah.
And then eventually, 10 league games into the 21-22 season, the call came. And Conte was like, I'll be on the next Ryanair flight to Stansted. And soon enough, he was Tottenham manager. I don't think that situation doesn't exist. There is no world-class manager sat on the beach waiting for Tottenham to call him. And so, no, I don't think he's under like immediate threat. But what I do know is that lots of Spurs fans are extremely mad and grumpy about what they saw yesterday, and understandably so, because it was incredibly bad.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kai, let's talk about Arsenal instead, because they didn't have their first choice forward or second choice forward. They didn't have Martin Ødegaard.
Or third choice forward.
Or third choice.
Yeah.
They didn't have Martin Ødegaard either. They didn't have Gabriel, and there was a lot made of that, and whether they would still be able to be a threat from set pieces. We've talked a bit this season about how they have seemingly dramatically improved their strength in depth. This kind of result sort of proves that, I think. So my question to you is, it can't go wrong anymore, can it? They're first in the league. They're quite far ahead, or relatively far. There's not that much to worry about. The other teams that could possibly win just are seeming to falter semi-regularly, or in some cases, like extremely regularly. There's nothing left to worry about, is there? They've wrapped it up already. So can you finally admit that nothing else can go wrong? Are we there yet?
I'm currently struggling to breathe after that description. I've had such a lovely weekend. And then I came in here this morning and I knew this was going to be the topic of conversation, and it's instantly ruined it. Can anything go wrong? Of course it can. It probably will. I guess the question is when it does go wrong, and it's gone wrong quite a lot for Arsenal this season. If you mentioned all the players who've been out there,
sure,
they found ways to deal with it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty good. And
to clarify, by go wrong, what I really mean is they don't win the Premier League.
Oh, okay.
Like, do you think that Do you think they're going to win the Premier League now?
I think it's a 20 teams in the league, 38 games.
Balls are going to come flying back.
Yeah. It's not mathematically over. So there's a lot of teams to beat, a lot of games to play. Mm-hmm. I think what is funny is that it does feel like the only thing that can stop Arsenal winning the league is kind of Arsenal.
Sure.
So we'll come on to City and Liverpool later, but I think you look at them and you don't see teams who are necessarily equipped to match the level of consistency that Arsenal have shown this season. They have the depth that you mentioned there to deal with. You know, if last season, if Gabriel had been out, and Gabriel was out for the last 3 months of the season, and Arsenal struggled massively, Jakub Kiwior came in and they got good results against Real Madrid, but in the league they really struggled. And the season kind of became Champions League or nothing, and it fell away, sadly, in the Champions League. So Martin Ødegaard's been out for a long time. Bukayo Saka's missed months of the season. Gyökeres has missed a month now. Havertz has been out since the first game. Jesus has been out the entire time. Madueke came back yesterday. Martinelli came back yesterday. There's others who've been out. Saliba missed a month of football. Ben White's barely been fit. Ricardo Calafiori's had injury problems. I could keep going. There were very few times last season where Arsenal found that Liverpool slipped up. And in almost every single one of them, Arsenal failed to take advantage. And this season, Arsenal, every single time pretty much, and it does feel like there's been a lot of weekends where both Man City and Liverpool have dropped points. Arsenal have managed to find a way to take maximum points. Admittedly, yesterday was one of the easier times to do that, but Newcastle was a big game. And even in games where they've dropped points, so you look at Sunderland and Liverpool, they lost to a wonder strike from Dominic Szoboszlai. Man City, they were, I think, the better team on the day, and justifiably got a point. So there's been very few games where you look at Arsenal this season, and you think, wow, that's a team that aren't going to potentially. Yeah. So I'm
the XG conceded graphic is crazy, isn't it? It's like there's 2 games this season in the Premier League where they've conceded more than 1 XG. In every other game, they are expected to concede fewer than 1 goals, which is pretty wild.
I guess the big test of that now is, and we've covered why Spurs didn't provide them with any problems, but without Gabriel, that is the big test now, because Nketiah looked all right, but he wasn't really tested on Sunday. So I think that's the big sort of question mark hanging over Arsenal now is, how can they cope without the leader in their back line, their best defender, and arguably the best player in the Premier League this season, Gabriel? That's going to be. I think. I'd stand by it.
No, sorry.
No, I stand by it. Seriously,
these lads have gone all wrong, Joe.
No. I hold on there.
Time there, and I was like,
I will.
They've had a big win. I'll let it go. You can't. You simply can't say that.
I can, and I have. I think Gabriel's been the best player in the Premier League this season.
No.
I stand by it.
No.
If you can name me another one, then
Erling Haaland?
He's been all right. How many goals has he got from set pieces?
Let's go around the table and name players that have had a better season than Gabriel. I say Haaland. Who do you say?
Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Okay, who do you say?
Jeremy Doku.
Yeah, I mean, those are all good.
Antoine Semenyo.
Yeah, Antoine Semenyo.
Brian Mbeumo.
Steve.
Best defender.
No, that's not the same thing, is it?
No, sure.
You can't
but
step down
everyone
from
else is
saying best
compared
defender.
brought in attacking players.
Sure. Don't worry. Look, the scale of my laugh means I already know that there are a flood of comments coming in my direction.
I'm looking
about
forward to
how
this.
These guys, they can't even understand that a defender could be the best player in the Premier League this season.
They can't.
He has become like their best. I mean, he is probably the best defender. Well, there's something about he scores loads of goals from set pieces, so he's a massive threat. But for a long time,
Did you know he scores a lot of goals?
I've got statistics, you know. They had this is the thing because Saliba was like the grand Rolls Royce of a player in that defense for a long time. But I've always said you need to have someone who's like crazy in the back line because it's horrible to play against, and that is the one they've got. Like you have to have a player like that. He's like the Carlos Puyol they've got.
Sure,
he's great, but he's also very good with the ball. I always thought he was really decent.
Yeah.
So obviously he's developed his game and come on a bit, and then now is very good.
Now he's the best player in the Premier League.
He's the best player in the Premier League. He is the best. Like, what's the best mean? What's the best mean?
I think he's amazing. Just to
He's
be
on
clear,
form.
I think he's amazing.
Yeah.
I just think it's funny that specifically you, said that he was the best. I think that's getting carried away after a positive weekend.
I can't say other positive things yet, so I'm just trying to sort of channel it in other ways. And
What about Eze? I think Eze scoring a hat trick means that he's having
second
the
best player in the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's brilliant. No, yesterday felt like Eze's been really good since he arrived, but it hasn't felt like he's kind of taken the team quite by the scruff of the neck in the way that Palace, it was his team.
Yeah.
He's felt kind of supporting cast member at Arsenal so far, whereas yesterday it felt like a game where, obviously being an Arsenal fan and all the story that happened in the summer with him nearly joining Spurs, it felt like the narrative of it all will he rise to it or will he kind of wilt away? And he rose to it massively.
He was the main man.
Exactly. And all the goals he scored were fantastic finishes. I know the first one was slightly deflected, but it was still a brilliant finish. And like Jack said, they allowed him to shoot a lot from the edge of the box. And that's one of his fortes and something that Arsenal lacked last season in the sense that they had a lot of players who would like to sort of play horseshoe passes around the box, but no one who would really pull the trigger. And interestingly, with Mikel Merino sort of in that false nine, Eze took up a lot of positions as the number 9 and did it really effectively and finished really effectively. So, yeah, it's a really nice moment for him because, like I said, I don't think he had quite announced himself as the Arsenal man. And with Ødegaard being out, it's sort of been his chance to come in, and I think he's done really well. But yesterday was, another level.
Okay. Well, they've got a tough week coming up of Arsenal. They play Bayern Munich in the Champions League midweek on Wednesday. And also they're away to Chelsea on Sunday. So can they follow up a positive with some more positive results? We'll find out. One final question on Spurs, Jack, because as Kai mentioned there was a world where Eberechi Eze signed for Spurs in the summer. Do you think, A, does it hurt Spurs fans all the more that it was him that scored the hat-trick against them in this game? And B, do you think if they had signed Eze, do you think it changes anything meaningful for Spurs this season so far?
Yes, I think it is more painful for obvious reasons. And I think he would have improved them. I mean, I think he would have been more... So they did get... I mean, we've got a really good test case here, right? Because they did get Xavi Simons from RB Leipzig like a few weeks after the whole Eze thing. And like Simons is really good, but I think Eze would have been better. Like I think that seems fairly non-controversial.
Yeah.
Simply because he's older, he's been in the Premier League for years, he's like completely up to speed with the physical demands of it in a way that Simons is not. And I think he would have clearly like elevated Tottenham's play through the middle. Like Tottenham have been really bad on the ball this season. Like they don't create chances in open play. They don't create through the middle of the pitch. They don't. All they do really is go like Porro chips it down the line to Kudus, and they'll try and like let's win a free kick, let's win a corner. And if you have Eze, like he immediately elevates the level of the team.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, there we go. That's Spurs. That's Arsenal. That's an old. Hopefully, it improves for Spurs fans over time, and hopefully Kaya soon accepts that nothing can now go wrong for Arsenal.
There is one thing, just looking at like XG numbers is interesting. With Spurs, I didn't realise their expected goal difference is enormous. Like they are massively underperforming.
Really?
I didn't even realise this until right now. Their expected goals is 11 and they've scored 20.
You mean they're overperforming?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yes.
No, I think the
exact opposite of what I said.
When you said they were underperforming, I was like, that is news to me.
Yeah.
When you said they were overperforming, I think a huge proportion of those goals that they overperformed to score came early in the season, right? Like I remember we talked about that maybe 4 or 5 weeks in, where they'd had quite a lot of positive results. They were top of the Premier League for one Saturday or something.
Well, it's the thing because everyone talks about like Thomas Frank will survive and all these bits. Like they're on 18 points. They're that's all right.
Sure.
Really are. They're close to
But the question is,
fourth.
are they
They're
where
one win
they
away
are?
from fourth.
The question is, though, are they where they are because they got lucky in some games
Well,
earlier in
exactly,
the season,
yeah.
which disguised maybe what was happening? I don't know. I think time will tell with that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a get out. I use that all the time.
Time
Only time
will tell. Now, let's play the separation game. Time will tell. Now, Piero Hincapié became the 15th Ecuadorian, right, Steve, to play in the Premier League when he joined Arsenal on loan this summer. So let's pick two completely different players. Appears to be Steve's idea here. So today, our game starts with another Ecuadorian Premier Leaguer, Ulises de la Cruz. Ulises de la Cruz. Remember him? I don't know who that is. Jack, do you know who that is?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, Kaya?
If Jack doesn't,
play for-
I'm totally
Ulises de la Cruz.
ULISES for Ulysses.
Yeah.
ULIS.
ES.
Yes.
Now a member
De
of
la Cruz.
Ecuador's National Assembly.
And of course, you have to get to Jose Altidore.
Do you have to do it through politicians?
Apparently so.
There are a few
Yeah.
Ecuadorian former Premier League footballers who are also now politicians.
There we go.
Okay, and do I have to do it through Hibs now?
Yeah.
You played for Hibs.
Okay, well, we'll take a quick break while these guys work out who those players are. I mean, we know Jose Altidore. Do we know Ulises de la Cruz? We're going to find out after this advertisement break. I forgot, Steve Hankey, I'm supposed to do an advertisement of our own, which is to advertise a book I left outside and didn't bring in here.
Do you want me to...
I actually don't know where it is. It's called The 100. No, Steve got the book. Cut that bit out that I was saying before. Something got cut. Now, look at this. Oh, look at it. It does actually look nice, doesn't it, JJ? I know you're busy doing the separation game. Carry on. This is it. The Soccer 100. The story of the greatest players, that's football players, in history. Oliver Kay, James Horncastle, they get top billing. I don't know if they did all the work, but with the Athletic soccer staff. Top billing for the big lads there, big names. But I know there's a lot of grit of the smaller names.
few boulders and then grit being smaller stones.
Yeah, grit, smaller stones. Anyway, it is, as you might imagine, it is a countdown of the top 100 players as aggregated by the votes of all the various journalists that work here at The Athletic. Interestingly, I've seen the individual voting records of each of these these people. So I can say, for example, something very interesting to me at least. The older, I mean, we can all guess who's number one, probably, but the older cohort of Athletic staff, they all went for Maradona in second. But the younger cohort mostly went for Johan Cruyff, which I found very, very interesting. It's like the difference, because some of them, their argument would be, well, how do you interpret the Soccer 100? What indeed, as you said earlier in the episode, JJ, what is best? To some of them, they said, well, Johan Cruyff has had a bigger impact on football as a person than Maradona has. Doesn't mean he was a better footballer. What does that mean? Does it mean I can't put him second in my list? Nay, thought the younger people. Did you vote in this, JPB?
I did more than just vote. I wrote 2 of the chapters.
Did you?
I
just
did.
2?
By
Just
God.
2,
Of the 100?
Of the 100, yeah.
Lazy, isn't it?
I did one on Gordon Banks.
Gordon Banks.
And his famous save from Pele's header in the 1970 World Cup.
Where does Gordon Banks come in the book? Do you know?
I can't remember.
Don't worry, I'll find out.
And then I did another one, which I actually can't remember. Quite. What can you look? Can you?
You genuinely don't know?
I genuinely can't. I put so much mental effort into the Gordon Banks one.
Yeah, this sounds like a great book.
The other one is just kind of lost to me. He's lost to my mind.
I can't. I can see if I can find your name.
My brain is just full of
in
Ulises de la Cruz at the moment.
What's your name again? Jack Pitt-Brooke.
Ulises de la Cruz.
Ulises de la Cruz.
Can I have a look? And
yeah,
I can remember?
here's the book. This is a long advert, isn't it?
Where did
let's find
Gabriel
out.
come?
Gabriel's. That's why I said it was easy to guess number one.
There's a separate book for him.
Well, it looks like Jack's finished in the separation game. As you can see from my shot, he's currently flicking through the massive book to remember which chapter he wrote. If you want to buy that, by the way, and you really should, because it's a terrific Christmas gift, and also it's just fun to look through. I should say also, in no jest, without cynicism, the chapters are beautifully written, and we're actually filming something related to this. It will come out closer to the World Cup. Keep an eye out for that as well. But there's 2 links in today's description. One for a UK store. I believe you can only pre-order it at this point. I think it comes out in about a week. And there's one for US stores where it's already available for delivery. So have a look, the Soccer 100. Well done, everyone involved. And now let's take an advertising break for something that you should prioritize less than this book. Searching for what?
Oh, apparently I did Ronaldinho.
Oh.
I have no memory of that at all.
You did Ronaldinho and you forgot. Anyway, we're back from the ad break there. And also during that ad break, everybody, I think, bar JJ, who's on the edge of it, has done the separation game. Jack also remembered the other chapter that he wrote. He's also worried about his brain. He's making an appointment with the doctor as we speak. But let's see how good his wet brain works on separation, first of all. Jack, and by the way, I know you're an old man. Wet brain's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Having
thank you for clarifying.
a big wet brain is like a great,
But a smooth brain is bad, right?
a smooth brain. I think you need divots to be intelligent. So a smooth brain would be bad, I would say. You say you got a root in one. So does Kai. What's yours?
Sebastian Larsson.
Oh.
So Ulysses de la Cruz played very, very briefly for Birmingham City in the 2008-9 season with legendary Swedish midfielder Sebastian Larsson.
Wow.
Sebastian Larsson played alongside Jose Altidore for Sunderland in the 2013-14 season.
That's a lovely route in one. Okay, Kyra, is it the same as yours?
No, mine's different.
What have you got?
Mine's less flashy. Ulysses de la Cruz, in his final season at Aston Villa, played with Craig Gardner in his first season at Aston Villa,
Right.
who played with Josie Altidore in that 2013-14 season.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay.
I've got it though.
Have you got it in one also, JJ?
2.
Oh, well, let me. Steve's got it in one here. And again, a third different one.
Wow.
At this point, suggesting that these were 2 poorly picked players. Because we take the same route that you did, Kai, going through Aston Villa, but we go with Juan Pablo Angel instead. There you go. How about that? JJ, what have you got?
Where did he play with Altidore, though?
He played with Jose Altidore at the New York Red Bulls in 2007. You wanted to know that, did you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted the audience to know that. I knew that
I
already.
think the audience were desperate for that information. JJ, what about you?
Ulysses de la Cruz played at Hibs at the same time as Gary Caldwell.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
That explains why you took so long to get it.
Well, I went to the Hibs route 'cause it's more fun.
Yeah.
And Gary Caldwell has a brother called Stephen Caldwell,
Right.
and he played alongside Gary Caldwell at Wigan.
Right. Yeah, I remember
It
them.
says the internet. I had to Google that. I've checked it. I'm pretty sure it's
No,
right.
the Caldwell brothers. I remember watching them play together.
There we go.
Yeah.
And Steve Caldwell ended up at Toronto and played a couple of games where Josie Altidore was in 2015.
Right.
So
There
I
you
went
go.
to the Caldwells.
Well, that's exciting.
Interesting
isn't it?
that you would go Scotland MLS. I mean, I think I respect the fact that you've not just stayed within the Premier
Yeah.
League.
I go with what I know.
He knows Scotland and MLS best. Big time. Okay, well, there we go. That was the separation game. Well done to everyone involved. No winners this week, only losers. Because we picked 2 players that had a connection of 1 in several different places.
All roads lead to Ulysses de la Cruz, apparently.
There you go. And that's now we know why Steve picked that name. Right. Okay. Let's talk instead about Newcastle 2, Kaya.
Yes.
1, Manchester City. Newcastle had another good home day there. Last Monday, we asked, of course, if Newcastle were on the verge of a crisis. And what fools we were, writes Steve. How dare you, Steve? I'm no fool. The Magpies, writes Steve, rose to 14th in the table after swooping down to take all 3 points against Manchester City at St James's Park. For City, after 2 morale-boosting wins in a row, notions of a resurgence for Pep Guardiola's side seem to have stalled, writes Steve Kaya.
Yeah, it does feel slightly underwhelming for Newcastle fans. Sort of the happiness and the joy of beating Manchester City, and it's sort of 14th is where they are on the table after
Right.
it. It's a bit of a damp squib, that. But in relation to Manchester City, a lot of the talk going into the international break was, are they back? Because they looked really good. And they'd moved within a sort of closer distance to Arsenal. Arsenal had dropped points against Sunderland. City had looked. Was it Liverpool the final game before the international break? I've
Maybe.
my brain's
For City?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
spending too much time with Jack. My brain's going too. But
Hashtag Pep back.
hashtag Pep back. Hashtag Pep not back.
Oh, dear.
Doesn't really work. Bringing Pepsi back? No, it doesn't work either. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
He's
I've
bringing
lost.
Pepsi back.
That a Justin Timberlake ripoff
Yeah,
you tried
it was
to
an
do,
attempt,
right?
but it failed.
Yeah.
Basically, City, I don't think are back yet because I think they have flaws that that sort of forego their ability to become the consistency to not become the consistency, to have
find
the
consistency.
to find the consistency
Yeah.
required to
Bring Pepsi back.
Bring Pepsi back,
Yeah.
indeed. I just think they really should have won this game. Obviously, Phil Foden missed a couple of good chances. Erling Haaland had a chance where weirdly he sort of scooped it over Nick Pope, who I think is one of the tallest goalies in the league. And that was a strange decision and proving that he's not the best player in the league. But I think they have flaws that they haven't found a way of masking them yet. They seem very vulnerable through the middle. They seem to concede chances through the middle, and that seems to be the case when you watch them a lot. And Newcastle are exactly the kind of team who could exploit that because they're very physical. They outrun you in the midfield.
Yeah,
they're very strong in central areas, and they took advantage of the City weaknesses. And also, I think Gianluigi Donnarumma is a problem when it comes to corners. He likes to sort of try and go and engage and tries to claim for fouls that often aren't there.
right.
I didn't think it was a foul on him. I know City were adamant that it was, but he seems to be a bit of a flapper when it comes to corners, and that's an issue.
A flapper indeed.
Yeah.
Well, what an interesting fashion sense he has.
Yes, very 1920s.
Yes.
I just learned what a squib is.
Well, in Harry Potter world?
No, but everyone says damp squib.
Right.
Do you know what a squib is?
Well, now I think I don't.
Well, what do you? Because in my head it's like a
squid.
Well, obviously, yeah. But also, it's like a bit of paper you'd write notes on, because I think squib sounds like ink to me or something, because the squid has ink. So I think that's why. So I was thinking a bit of paper, so it's wet. So it's like, I never thought of it. It's a firecracker.
Really? Oh,
Really?
so, and it doesn't go off because it's damp.
It's a small firecracker or an explosive device used for special effects, such as simulating a gunshot. So a small firecracker that burns with a hissing sound before exploding. That's what a squib is.
So a damp squib is something that one would expect to go off with a bang, but then fizzles out with nothing.
That's what that means.
That makes sense.
I didn't know that.
Right.
You know about the chicken crossing the road that it could cross to the other side.
Yes.
You know that?
Yes, I do.
You know about this, Kaya?
I've heard the joke. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what it means?
No.
So you thought it was like an anti-joke? Where it just crosses? No, it's to cross to the other side.
Oh, okay. I think I understand it now.
Death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Death.
It's
a double entendre.
Wow.
A favourite joke of my family when I was younger is why did the hedgehog cross the road?
I don't know.
To get to the other side. Why did the chicken cross the road?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
Because he was stuck to the hedgehog's bum. I mean, there was a real mismatch in midfield, JJ, though, wasn't there? Because on one team, Bruno, Tonali and Joe Linton played versus Bernardo Silva, Nico
Bruno
Gonzalez,
Tonali. Do you mean Bruno Guimaraes, Sandro Tonali?
Bruno / Tonali / Joe Linton.
Yeah.
It's a shame also that we don't have John McKenzie on today's episode, because he was tweeting over the weekend. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe I'm attributing someone else's tweets to him. But I'm going to do it anyway and say that it was him, definitely, saying that Joe Linton just continually gets away without getting red cards.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And maybe now I'm really worried that it wasn't him. Someone. Oh, I know who it was. It wasn't him. It was Nathan from the Extra Inch podcast, who was saying that he thought it was very funny. He wondered whether, because Joe Linton has this lovely story around him, that he was a bit of a striker that didn't quite work out, but now he's reinvented himself incredibly, that referees just kind of let him get away with more fouls in midfield.
It's interesting. So, like, Joe Linton does this every game. He makes a lot of fouls and he goes in hard for a lot of tackles. He'd be really horrible to play against. It's the kind of thing where you see the City players just getting annoyed by it.
Yeah.
Like, and you just can't do much about it.
You just want to say, chill out,
He goes,
man.
just chill out, because it's so annoying.
Yeah.
And then but he just sort of walks away because it's his game. He's not doing it to be dirty.
Sure.
He just sort of kind of is.
Sure.
That midfield three for Newcastle has been excellent for a long time. And I know a lot of people have it in for Sandro Tonali, but I think he's absolutely amazing. I think he's phenomenal. And I was looking through numbers because I was trying to write a short, which I might still do this week. This season he has had might have updated since I did this, but he's had the most touches, most passes, and most combined tackles and interceptions, and the second most shot-creating actions of any Newcastle player. He's like box to box, but he's also, they're like important pivot. Often they work around him and build up. He's always looking forward. You'll notice his passes are always really, he puts them.
Yeah.
So they go exactly where they're meant to go.
Yeah.
Little first touch, little first time passes always. He's got a massive switch ball. You can switch to the other side of the pitch, and whenever there's space, he drags the ball into it. Like, he's so athletic. He's amazing. He's such a good player.
Well, I mean, and he outperformed the Man City midfield in this game.
And I think they played him normally this season. Well, for a long time they swap him around. So him and Guimaraes often swap their role. Joe Linton never ends up as the deeper one in midfield because he's not as good as the other two on the ball. But Magalhães is obviously great as a 6 or a 10, whatever. They're just midfielders. The numbers doesn't matter. But Tonali, if you play him on the right, because Doku's obviously playing on the left for Man City, and he's like the danger man at the moment. So he comes inside quite a bit. So if you play Tonali on the right, it means he's the one that jumps on to Doku when he gets the ball. So you'd see Doku just wasn't that great in this game because he'd hardly get time on the ball. When he got it, bang, like straight on him. There's nothing he could do. So he had to just get rid of it kind of quickly. He did a few dribbles because he's Doku. But Tonali on the right side means you can just close him down. You see a lot of Tonali's touches in that game on the right wing as well. I think that was on purpose tactically to try and deal with that.
Yeah. Did you watch this game, Jack?
Yeah, I just think that City they really struggle against physically intense midfields. Like it's happened quite a few times this season. Like they lost away at Brighton where they got overrun at the end. They lost at Aston Villa where they got a bit overrun. They lost this game. I just think that the combination of, in this case, it was Nico Gonzalez and Bernardo Silva in the middle. Bernardo Silva's clearly doesn't have the legs that he did when he joined. Like they're kind of physically vulnerable in a way which traditionally they weren't. You know, when they had Fernandinho or Rodri, obviously Rodri's
De Bruyne,
De Bruyne obviously at his best. Like Rodri's been in and out this season, and they're kind of, you can really get at them in a way that I think is a bit unusual for a Guardiola City team in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah, I miss Fernandinho.
I miss Fernandinho, amazing player.
He was magic, yeah.
And Fernandinho is one of the best players I've ever seen at being. Like incredible versatility, could clearly play anywhere on the pitch. Incredibly clever, incredibly nasty as well. Like his ability to, and Rodri's kind of learnt this off him. His like the ability to just like, not in the way that like everybody knows the fouls that Joelinton's doing. Like Joelinton's fouls are obvious to the world.
Yeah.
They're just like big, high, late tackles.
Yeah.
Whereas Fernandinho was just a master of the little elbow, the little stud left in, the kind of the cheeky shirt pull,
the little trip,
and the little trip. I love the little trip.
Well, suddenly all the momentum's gone.
And also, what he was so good at, and this is again something that Rodri has, is like being like that with the referee, just kind of like Mark Van Bommel style, like kind of walking around with the referee all game. Like you can't give that. You can maybe give that. You can accept that one's a foul, and just doing like in doing so, he kind of earned for himself this like cloak of invincibility.
Yeah,
you can never book me off. You can never send me off. Maybe I will allow you to book me if I've done like 7 of the most egregious little fouls you'll ever see.
And when you do, I'll go, fair enough.
That is a special skill for somebody playing as a number 6.
Big
like
time.
that is a unique skill, and he was so good at it. And Rodri was very good at it too. But City now, they don't have anyone to do that. They don't have that type of player anymore.
They're really missing it. Well, I'm curious also, as we segue through, what Liverpool are missing. Now, Liverpool 0-3 Nottingham Forest, JJ. Writes Steve, he didn't write that bit, he writes this: Liverpool's paltry protection of their Premier League title continued as they found the tricky trees too tricky to navigate. The tricky trees, of course, for more recent listeners, is a nickname apparently for Nottingham Forest. The tricky trees too tricky to navigate, losing 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. Here's a tweet from Up to Joe. Liverpool are just the 4th side to start a season as defending champions in the Premier League with 6+ defeats in their first 12 games after Blackburn Rovers in 95-96, Chelsea in 2015-16, and Leicester City in 2016-17. Full stop crumbling. That's what Dr. Joe had to say. JJ, this was another loss. This is 6 in their last 7 games. I think that's right. 6 in the last 7 games. Their run of form is catastrophically bad.
Yes, it's not very good. Little interesting thing about this, I was looking through all the numbers, and if you look at XG, Liverpool technically won that, like 1.9 to 1.6, basically, which is odd because, but these things just happen sometimes. And it's like a corner that they concede first goal. I've watched the first half. I haven't seen the second. I've seen the highlights, and I think a lot of the focus I've read afterwards as well has been that like Mo Salah, again, people taking advantage of his lack of defensive awareness, like in the corner. Oftentimes, but players like Salah, like skillful forwards, I find that when they're there for a corner, they're there, but they're not really there. It's like what I used to do when I used to defend corners at 11 aside.
Right.
I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to be able to win a header.
I'm going to work.
I am there
to make it look like I'm going.
I am there.
It. Yeah,
but I'm not there.
No.
And I wonder if that's now and again because they're a little bit confused about the defending, but. I think was it Van Dijk came out and said that they can see the goal and they start panicking. I think this happens to teams sometimes when the confidence drops out of you and teams sense a vulnerability. And Liverpool have been one of the most dangerous, best teams in the league for so long.
Sure.
That suddenly there's a vulnerability to them and you can go at them and there's little errors that creep in. I'm increasingly wondering about like the effect that like the death of Diogo Jota is having on them.
Sure.
And so I'm trying to caveat everything I say about them because you just don't know how that affects people.
Mm-hmm.
And like the reason I'm thinking about it more is what Andy Robertson was talking about after the Scotland game.
Oh, we talked about that on Wednesday.
Oh, because like,
in fact, we said pretty much this.
But this is the thing, right? Because I am 40 now and I'm older than all of these players, and so I see them in a different way than I used to. I used to be like, oh, that player's rubbish, but now I'm like, oh, but I'm older than them. I need to think about the way I talk about these things, because they're real people.
Sure.
And it's weird when you meet a few of them. Like I've met Andy Robertson in real life. I talked to him in like an interview situation thing, like in the press, what do you call it, the mix zone. And he's just like a guy who would be like a friend or something like that.
Flesh and blood.
Yeah, you just recognize, I know what that kind of person is. And so when he talks about how that makes you feel, there must be points in games when you're thinking about it. And then like, I think Mo Salah was quite close to Diogo Jota as well, and talking about that as well. So there's definitely going to be some stuff in there. But you don't know what's happening with mentality. And there's still the tactical problems that are there. And when there are small problems at that level, that's where teams can take advantage of you. And like Forest sitting back, like Sean Dyche said, they're going to go direct against them because Liverpool will try and press like the bejesus out of them. So that's what they did. So they go long, play over the top. And then they get benefit out of that. So they're taking advantage of shaky defending one-on-one.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things going on here all at once.
The shaky defending, I think, is a key. Just reading what Steve's included here for me. Liverpool, they did beat Real Madrid, Aston Villa and Frankfurt in their last 7 games in all competitions. I think the 6 losses in 7 is just in the Premier League. Right. Kaya, Liverpool, they started very well, didn't they? But the second that they conceded, they fell away. Here's what Virgil van Dijk had to say post-match. We conceded from a set piece and panic kicks in. As a team, you have to try and stay calm and do the right things, but we didn't do that, and that's hard to accept. We were nervous in the way we played, which I guess is maybe an indicator that the poor run of form is kind of getting to them during the game.
Yeah, it looks like they've got a lot of doubt in their mind that seems to creep in whenever they concede, and it's come from obviously recent games where they've fallen apart in matches, and that's been a problem for them. And I think that's something that's really, really difficult to get over. It's almost quite endemic, and I don't know how Arne Slot does that without having to massively tweak his tactics and maybe go a little bit more just basics and try and maybe just tighten up the defense and maybe not play. I know Frimpong's injured. No, Frimpong's not injured. Sorry, but maybe play slightly more defensive fullback, so you can use Joe Gomez at right back maybe, or a more defensive left back, but Robertson. He did this kind of in the Madrid game where he kind of reverted to the team from last season, and it worked, and he steered back away from it. I know it's difficult for him because they've got so many new signings that they need to integrate, and he does need to integrate them at some point because it's November now, and probably Ekitike side, we're still not really sure whether any of them are successes, and that's a massive problem for Liverpool. But I do wonder if maybe he needs to just kind of forget about all that and just focus on winning the next game, forget about the fact they're in a title race, and just try and get back onto terra firma, because it's a real issue for Liverpool that the second things go wrong. If this had happened last season, for example, I know Forest beat them at Anfield, but let's say another team, just for example, had gone 1-0 up. I think Liverpool were really good at kind of dealing with any setbacks that came their way, and they were very calm, and that was probably the word you would associate most with Arne Slot in his first season, whereas now it doesn't really feel like he knows what the plan B is, and the substitutes are kind of just chuck strikers onto the pitch and hope things happen. It doesn't really still feel like there's a clear plan, whereas last season Liverpool felt so clearly identified in what they were trying to do, and it was so simple and it worked so well, whereas now things feel a lot more complicated, and I think they're really struggling with that.
It reminds me of when Man City had that run last season, do you know, and then they sort of fell apart, and you knew that you could get at them, and they felt really vulnerable, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
But Pep Guardiola is Pep Guardiola and has infinite amount of credit in the bank.
Sure.
He can buy anything he wants.
He can get back up. It's a bit like in the boxing match, isn't it? When when you punch the player and then the player wobbles a bit and you go, quick, get him again.
The player.
And you keep punching him. Well, and then you start to go, is this man conscious? Should I stop punching him? But you keep punching anyway. And
and eventually the other boxer returns and they're back on top. So that kind of happens. But like I've seen lots of Liverpool fans and fanalists and all the folks on the internet saying that, I've had enough of Slot now is the time he needs to go. But it's really difficult. And I wonder whether having Slot there, is that quite a good way to just, a bit of familiarity with the management there might actually help the players with what's going on just now. Sure.
I think it reminds me more of what Antonio Conte called the Mourinho season, which was Chelsea's infamously bad defence of the Premier League title in 15-16. Remember when Jose was sacked in just before Christmas with them like in the bottom half of the table? And that was one of the most spectacular bad defences of a title I think we've ever seen, right? Because they, Chelsea were really good 14-15, won the league, and then it all went wrong the following season. I actually have quite a lot of sympathy with Slot for two reasons. Firstly, as JJ said, is the obvious, he's having to try and guide his players through this traumatic experience that the whole Liverpool community suffered over the summer. But on a more kind of footballistic point, I think he's trying to square a circle between two completely different teams, right? Last season, the team was a platform for Salah to be the best player in the league. And now, everything was geared around that and it worked really well to that end. Whereas this season, he's got three big money, big name players come in the door, even before you get to KIRK and Frimpong.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be a platform for Mohamed Salah. They want to be the main man. And of course you would, right? If you cost 100 million quid or thereabouts. And it's those are two completely different teams. It's very difficult to find a hybrid of those two things. And this, as Kaya says, insofar as they've had success this season, it's let's just try and be last season's team, right? Let's be the platform for Salah. But the platform for Salah doesn't really seem to include Wirtz, Ekitike, or Isak.
No, yeah.
And I don't
Well, I was going to ask you just on this note. I mean, Isak is the focus of a lot of attention from Liverpool and rival fans at the moment as well. A lot of people just set online saying he's shit. We know he's not. But do you think there's an incompatibility issue here? Do you think Salah's towards the end of his career anyway? He's not going to be there for that much longer. Is there an argument to say if you moved Salah on and then tried to refocus around Isak, that might work?
I think so. I mean, I think probably on balance, that is the correct long-term bet, right? To think, what's the team going to look like next season?
Yeah.
Or in 2 years' time? And the answer is probably, it's either a front three of Ekitike, Isak, and Wirtz, or it's maybe a front two with Wirtz as a 10, or something like that. And it probably doesn't include Salah 2 years from now. And let's just go all in on that. The problem with that is, that is less likely to win you Premier League points than a team of Salah in. And B, if you do that, the whole world will say, why aren't you picking Salah? He's the best player. People are not very good at accepting those kind of long-term strategic decisions with a view to this is how good we're going to be in 2 years' time, right? People will get annoyed. People want to see the best and most famous, most popular player on the pitch.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is a very difficult thing for him. And I don't get the impression, I don't cover Liverpool. I don't watch a lot. I don't think I've watched them in the flesh this season. It doesn't really look to me as if he's been able to kind of grasp that nettle, right?
I think also, we talked a bit about the effect Jota's had on the team, but also as a literal player that they had in the team, he was very important to them. You can play as a 9, but also you can drop in and do a lot of things, let other people come in. Part of the reason I think probably helps with Salah coming in, and he's talked about in the past that he knew how to knows how to play with players like Luis Diaz, who's also not really talks about him either. He's an amazing player. He went away and Gakpo's a left-sided now. But also he understood where Jota would go and what he would do. And so he had those combinations. And a lot of football, they've got the tactics and all of it. It's the combinations you have, the understandings you have of different players, they're now no longer there. And so Liverpool decided to they had to obviously replace that player that needed up front. So they went with Ekitike, great choice. And they went with Isak, great choice. 2 fantastic players, very different stylistically to what you've got. And he's building towards something else. But when you make that more of a front four, it makes Salah be more on the wing. And he's not really a winger, he's an inside forward. But he also, we've talked about this before, but Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving means you've lost one of the natural unicorn from that team. The Liverpool really were kind of built around Alexander-Arnold for years because of what he could do, no one else really could. But they've also lost, when they would go and press really heavily under Jurgen Klopp or really go for it, they had players who were always had a safety net. They always had Wijnaldum or Jordan Henderson. But then also things they don't have is the characters. Andy Robertson is not as the player he was a few seasons ago. I still think he's great. He makes errors now and again, but who cares? Some people do. But he's a character, he's a leader. And you've lost, you don't play Robertson. He's one of the captains, really. They don't play Alexander Arnold because he's not there anymore. He was one of the captains. You need those voices. I saw a clip of Jordan Henderson running about in one of the games. Maybe it's during COVID or something like that. And he's just shouting at everyone like, well done, get this, win the header, do this, constant. That's all you hear is Jordan Henderson, just like yammering away at everyone.
Yeah.
And maybe they don't have that either. It's like these characters that you need on the pitch. And Slot's trying to make a tactical team that can do these things. But I still think football men need characters.
Well, this is a perfect segue because you weren't on the show on Wednesday. Last week. We didn't capture your reaction to Scotland.
Oh, yes.
One thing that Steve Clark, the Scotland manager, said while speaking to BBC Scotland after the game, he said, we chose more caps. We chose more experience. When you come to a night like this, said Steve, right, Steve Clark, when you're behind and struggling and you're not sure it's going to happen, I trust my players. He picked the more experienced players, including Andy Robertson, right? So how was it? Do you agree with that? Is it everything you ever wanted?
You can imagine what it feels like. Everyone, it's obvious.
I can't imagine. Describe it.
Well, it's different to you England fans and all that.
That's exactly what I mean.
Well, exactly, yeah. So I remember watching the 98 World Cup when I was about 12 or 13, something like that. Very exciting. And then you just don't feel that you're part of it. To be part of it is really amazing. To do it in the way that we did it was phenomenal. I don't know if you watched the game, but... well,
these guys
did.
Yeah.
I mean, Scott McTominay scores a bicycle kick.
I saw the highlights.
Funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Scott McTominay scores a bicycle kick, and that's like the third most insane thing that happens in the game.
It's insane. And I've watched all those qualifying games, and we should have lost like all of them.
Right.
like the Greece game we won, they were putting the ball across the 6-yard box. I can't believe they didn't score 3 of them. And, we lost in Athens, but whatever. And then we lost to Greece, and then Denmark drew with Belarus, who are getting done in by everyone.
Sure.
So weird.
Yeah.
It's like
almost as though there's a conspiracy.
Well, it's that, or like the universe is just giving us what we need now, so we deserve a bit of fun. And is the thing, it's sometimes hard to get optimistic about it because you get to the tournament and then you get pumped 7-0 by Germany or something like that. And so you're like, is it worth it? It is worth it. It's really fun. And you get to have them all memories. And then all people in Scotland are really excited about just being there is so much fun.
Do you think in 1998, when I think you would have been, 12?
12, yeah.
Do you think you thought then, maybe the next time I'll see Scotland in a World Cup is when I'm 40?
You're not even aware of anything going on. All I remember is like Jim Leighton pushing the ball into the net against Brazil and like all these different bits and pieces. I can't remember who scored the penalties.
It's a long time though. Doesn't it make you feel old, that kind of thing?
Sort of, not really. I don't know.
How do I make you feel old? 40.
I don't know.
40.
I know, but then I don't really...
People in the comments are going to be like, what the
No, people think I'm 25 or something like that.
I know.
It's definitely, this is a thing. People will say, well, you'll appreciate when you're older. But actually, I think in work environments, people think I'm younger than I am, and oftentimes, so I'll get talked to in certain ways.
It's not because of how you look.
Throughout my career. Well, I maybe act a certain way as well. But maybe that's because of how I look. So maybe it's
you
all
do
tied
look
in.
young, to be honest.
Well, then, who knows?
They say, though, don't they? They say that 40 and 60 are the ages where you really accelerate your physical aging.
I try and stay fit, you know?
Yeah.
Try and fight it as best I can.
You could try it. Mother Time is coming for you. Oh, wait, it's Father Time. It's Father Time. Mother Time, she's the nice one. Yeah. Father Time is going to kill you.
I'm going to get him.
Yeah.
What else? Yeah, the game was amazing. I was talking to the great Phil Hay at an awards event where Tifo Football got included in the Hall of Fame, the Football Content Awards. Yeah. Well done.
By the way, people should subscribe to the Athletic FC newsletter that Phil Hay writes because it's genuinely really, really good. And it's free.
And he's also a great guy.
Yeah.
A great man.
A lovely guy. And so we're talking about Steve Clark, and a lot of Scotland fans are of the opinion that Steve Clark is a hero. He should be, the king of the castle.
Sure.
But also, the is he doing half the time with this team? Like, they just sit back and then teams batter them and then we get away with a win somehow.
He's choosing more caps, more experience.
Well, that's because all the better players are those. So you have, there's no speed in that team. There's no pace.
No.
Ben Gannon Doak had to go off early. I think it was who is that game? Denmark? I can't remember which game it was. Okay, Ben Gannon Doak, young player, was at Liverpool, went to Middlesbrough. I think he's at Bournemouth now.
Yeah.
His hamstring basically blew up. And so we lost the only player with speed we had, which changes everything you do. You have to sit back and how are you going to create chances? You score from the halfway line. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Thomas Frank should be watching Steve Clark.
To be fair, he was.
Yeah. But the point I was trying to make, and I talked to Phil Hay about, was that what I like with Steve Clark is that So people will say, well, there's no plan to score. There's no patterns of play. They don't know how to get to the final 30. You're like, yeah, well, maybe managers should put those things in. But also, isn't part of the joy of football that individuals can do things like what they want? You give them freedom and they can do things. And you'll get amazing stuff will happen that you never thought of. You can put some defensive solidity in there, but let players play.
I think that's a good description of international football, largely, as well.
Yeah, and that's why it's so fun, right? Because individuals do wild things. And so then you get stuff like McTominay the bicycle kick. Tierney turns up with a hit from outside the box. And these things that just shouldn't happen, but it's so much more fun. And because they have a bit of freedom to do it and they're not just structured to the death, this is what you must do, be in this position now, stay there, don't move, then you get all these benefits. Of course, it is just basically luck at the end.
Sure.
You score.
Yeah.
But it makes it so much better.
Right.
There's something about it.
Because of luck.
Basically, I'm just, all the stuff I've done with tactics for so long, I'm like, get rid of it. I want just the individual players to do special things now.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is a very extreme approach you're taking.
It's a bit of fun.
Yeah, no, I like it. All right, great. Well, there you go. They're in the World Cup, aren't they? So we'll see them, and we'll see the other World Cup teams in the World Cup. Let's play Points Are Bad. Okay, we're doing Points Are Bad. John, come in and hop down. Now, as you'll know by now, you got thoroughly barkered last week. However, the weekend went from all of us thinking, God, Alex Barker's a real troll, to thinking, is Alex Barker a genius? A genius, because while we all thought it was a thorough barkering, and of course, you did come last in the week, so you'll be picking the fixtures, you only added 11 points. It could have been far, far worse than that. You'll remember that he predicted for you 5-4 to Arsenal against Spurs in the North Island derby. Obviously, it wasn't that, but it was 4-1, which was a lot higher than the rest of us thought. So actually, we all added not dissimilar number of points there. JJ actually added 5 because he had a 0-0 prediction. Someone did it on your behalf, JJ. I can't remember who, but in the spirit of your choices, they picked 0-0, which I think it wasn't a terrible guess for that game. I don't think it was ever going to be 0-0, but I think it was going to be low scoring. Yeah. You don't think you've done that often?
Yeah, so that's good.
There you go. But you actually ended up adding more than John. John only added 4. I added 4 as well. I said 1-0. So well done to Alex Barker there. A nice, thorough barkering.
I don't think that's correct, is it?
What's correct?
Should I not have added 5?
Why would that be?
1 plus... Oh, no, it's 1 plus 3. It's 4.
Oh, that was good. That was good interruption, wasn't it? Did you like that one, Steve?
Completely worth it, yeah.
You keep that one in?
Especially off mic as well. Really helpful, yeah.
Okay, but it does mean you did still finish last. I came second last with 7, so there's only a gap of 4 there. JJ with 6, Ruben with 5, the 1-1 bot with 4, Kaya with an incredible only added 2. How did you manage that, Kaya?
I felt it. It felt right for me. It was entirely me. And yeah, it was all me.
This is completely wrong, Steve.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean...
No, you got a perfect prediction.
I got a perfect prediction.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You got a perfect prediction, and then it was the thing. Okay. Do you want to keep that in as well?
I mean, what Kaya not taking the credit for my guesses? Or
Kaya taking full credit for the guesses.
Okay, John, well, you did come last, so it's your turn to pick the fixtures that we're going to do today. Which Premier League games would you like to pick?
Well, I'm going to go for Sunday fixtures. I'm going to go for the famous 2:05 kickoff slot. I'm going to go with West Ham Liverpool because this is a fun game now, isn't it?
That's exciting. Who knows what that's going to be? And what about the other game?
Obviously, Chelsea Arsenal. This is the top 2 clash in the Premier League. Right
Oh, I can't retain when he's supposed to be talking. I'm so desperate to stop him. Okay, John, I'll let you go after you predict for West Ham Liverpool.
I think that Liverpool will win this.
Okay.
I think they will win comfortably, 3-0.
Okay, 3-0 or 0-3 to Liverpool, and then Chelsea Arsenal.
Ooh, this is a tough one, isn't it? I think this will be 2-1 to Arsenal.
1-2. There we go. Okay, thanks, John.
It's going to be a Doppler effect when the lights hit something like...
This guy wishes he had a motorbike, you know. Off you pop.
Enjoy the show.
Yep, thanks. Okay, next up then, I believe... Keep that in as well. Thanks, John. Okay, next up is me. So for West Ham Liverpool, I think they probably will win. I'm going to say 1-2. 2-1 to Liverpool. And then for Chelsea Arsenal, I think this might just be 2-0 Arsenal. Yeah, I think that. Okay, the next person to predict is JJ. What do you think? West Ham, Liverpool, West Ham. West Ham, Liverpool.
West Ham, Liverpool. I think it's West Ham at home, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
0-4.
0-4. Okay, that's a big one. And then Chelsea, Arsenal.
0. Is 1 gone?
No, 1's available.
I'll take that.
Yeah, I nearly took 0-1. I think that's a good guess, to be honest. Okay, it's Ruben next. So, Jack, I'm going to come to you, and you're going to play as Ruben this week. What do you think for West Ham, Liverpool?
2-2.
2-2. Oh, yeah. That feels kind of weirdly realistic, doesn't it? Okay. And then Chelsea, Arsenal.
0-2.
I think that's taken. I took that.
It is taken.
0-3's available.
1-3.
1-3. Oh, that would be a tasty affair, wouldn't it? Okay, and then Kaya, riding off of Steve Hankey's coattails.
No help this week, Kaya.
What do you think? West Ham, Liverpool.
I'm going to go West Ham 2, Liverpool 4.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Chelsea, Arsenal.
Um,
Surely you got to take 3-0.
no, I don't. I don't know. Is 0-1 available?
Nope. 0-2's also not available. 2-1's also not available. 3-1's also not available.
1-1 would be a really good prediction here.
0-0's there.
0-0 is there. I don't think it'd be fine. 0-3.
0-3. Yeah. Okay. I still think that's probably fine as far as guesses go. I don't think that's going to be the score, but I think that you're not going to be far from that because I think Arsenal probably will win the game. I like the idea that a hankering is the opposite of a barkering. You know, the only trouble with it is that you perform so well that you have to pick last the next week, and then it's very difficult.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. That's points to bed. Thanks very much. See you later.